Imagine if you could completely change your life in just 3 days. It sounds too good to be true, doesn't it? But what if I told you there's a simple technique that could make this a reality? Today, we're diving into a powerful method taught by Neville Goddard, a spiritual teacher who believed that our imagination is the key to transforming our lives. This isn't about complex rituals or expensive programs. It's about tapping into the incredible power of your own mind. Think about it for a moment. How many times have you dreamed of a better life? Maybe you've wished for a more fulfilling job, a loving relationship, or financial freedom. We all have desires, big and small, that we hope will come true someday. But what if you could make those dreams a reality much faster than you ever thought possible? That's exactly what Neville Goddard's technique promises to do. Now you might be wondering, who is Neville Goddard and why should I listen to him? Well, Goddard was a spiritual teacher who lived in the 20th century. He taught that our imagination is the God-given power to create our reality. It's not just daydreaming or wishful thinking. According to Goddard, our imagination is a real force that shapes the world around us. Here's why this is so important. If you don't try this technique, you might find yourself stuck in the same old patterns. You know how it goes. You make plans, set goals, and try your best, but somehow things don't seem to change. It's like you're running on a treadmill, putting in all this effort, but not really getting anywhere. That's the risk of ignoring the power of your imagination. But on the flip side, if you master this technique, you could see incredible changes in your life. Imagine waking up every day feeling excited and full of possibility. Picture yourself achieving goals you once thought were impossible. That's the potential power of Goddard's method. Now, I know what you might be thinking. This sounds too good to be true. What's the catch? The truth is, there isn't one. The only thing you need to invest is your time and belief. And we're talking about just 3 days here. 3 days that could set you on a completely new path in life. Think about it this way. We all have 24 hours in a day. Most of us spend a good chunk of that time working, sleeping, and taking care of our daily responsibilities. But what if you could use just a small portion of your day to completely transform your future? That's the opportunity Goddard's technique offers. Before we dive into the technique itself, let's take a moment to understand who Neville Goddard was. Born in 1905 in Barbados, Goddard came from humble beginnings. He moved to the United States as a young man and began studying various spiritual and metaphysical teachings. Over time, he developed his own philosophy based on the idea that our imagination creates our reality. Goddard wasn't just a theorist. He practiced what he preached and claimed to have manifested many incredible things in his own life using his techniques. He became a popular lecturer and author, sharing his ideas with thousands of people across America. What made Goddard's teachings unique was their simplicity and practicality. He didn't ask his followers to perform complex rituals or buy expensive courses. Instead, he taught that the power to change our lives lies within our own minds. He believed that every person has the ability to shape their reality through the power of imagination. Goddard's core message was this: your imagination is God. By this, he meant that the creative power of the universe, which many people call God, is actually our own human imagination. He taught that when we imagine something vividly and feel it as real, we're actually creating that reality on a spiritual level. And sooner or later, that imagined reality will manifest in our physical world. Now you might be wondering, if it's that simple, why isn't everyone doing it? The truth is, many people do use similar techniques, often without realizing it. Think about successful athletes who visualize their performance before a big game, or entrepreneurs who can clearly see their business thriving before it even takes off. They're using the power of imagination, just like Goddard taught. But Goddard took this idea further. He developed specific techniques to harness the power of imagination in a focused, intentional way. And that's what we're going to explore today, one of his most powerful and fast-acting methods. At the heart of Goddard's teaching is a simple but profound idea. Your mind is like a mirror that reflects into your real life. Whatever you hold in your mind, your thoughts, beliefs, and especially your imagined experiences, will eventually be reflected in your external reality. This might sound a bit strange at first. After all, we're used to thinking that the outside world is fixed and unchangeable. We often believe that our thoughts and feelings are just reactions to what's happening around us. But Goddard taught the opposite. He said that our inner world, our thoughts, feelings, and imaginations actually creates our outer world. Let's break this down a bit. Have you ever noticed how two people can experience the same event in completely different ways? One person might see a challenge as an exciting opportunity, while another sees it as a terrifying obstacle. The event is the same, but their experience of it is totally different. Why? Because their inner worlds, their thoughts, beliefs, and expectations are different. Goddard took this idea even further. He said that not only do our thoughts and beliefs affect how we experience the world, they actually shape the events and circumstances of our lives. It's as if the universe is constantly rearranging itself to match our inner pictures. Now, this doesn't mean that just thinking about something will make it appear instantly. It's not about just wishing for things. The key is to create such a vivid and real experience in your imagination that your subconscious mind believes it's already happened. When you do this, Goddard said, your subconscious mind, which he believed is connected to the creative power of the universe, goes to work to make that imagined reality come true. This is why Goddard often told his students to live from the end. By this, he meant that we should imagine and feel our desired end result as if it's already happened. Instead of hoping and wishing for something to come true in the future, we should experience it as real right now in our imagination. For example, if you want a new job, instead of just thinking, "I hope I get a new job soon," you would imagine yourself already working in that new job. You'd imagine the details, what your office looks like, the conversations you have with co-workers, the satisfaction you feel at the end of a productive day. You'd feel the feelings of security, accomplishment, and happiness that come with having that job. This might sound like just pretending or daydreaming, but Goddard taught that this kind of focused, feeling-based imagination is actually a powerful creative force. When you imagine something vividly and feel it as real, you're not just entertaining yourself, you're actually reshaping your subconscious beliefs and expectations. And those beliefs and expectations, according to Goddard, are what shape your external reality. Think of it like programming a computer. Your subconscious mind is like a powerful computer that's constantly working to create your reality. Your conscious thoughts, and especially your imagined experiences, are like the programs you input into this computer. When you consistently input new programs through vivid imagination, you start to change the output, the experiences and circumstances of your life. This is why Goddard emphasized the importance of persistence. Changing your life isn't usually about one big moment of realization. It's about consistently impressing new ideas and experiences on your subconscious mind through imagination. Over time, these new impressions reshape your beliefs, your actions, and ultimately, your reality. Now you might be thinking, this all sounds great, but does it really work? That's a fair question. After all, we're talking about a pretty revolutionary idea here. The good news is, You don't have to take it on blind faith. Goddard always encouraged his students to test his ideas for themselves. And that's exactly what we're going to do with his powerful 3-day technique. But before we get into the specifics of the technique, it's important to understand why it works. The power of this method lies in its ability to bypass our conscious doubts and speak directly to our subconscious mind. You see, our subconscious doesn't distinguish between what's real and what's vividly imagined. When you imagine something with feeling and sensory detail, your subconscious accepts it as real. This is why simply thinking positive thoughts often doesn't create lasting change. Those surface-level thoughts don't penetrate deep enough to change our underlying beliefs and expectations. But when we create vivid emotional experiences in our imagination, we're communicating directly with the part of our mind that shapes our reality. Goddard's 3-day technique is designed to create a short, intense period of this kind of deep communication with your subconscious. It's like a crash course in reality creation. By fully immersing yourself in the feeling of your desire fulfilled for just 3 days, you can often bypass years of contrary beliefs and set a new pattern in motion. Now, this doesn't mean that everything will magically change overnight. The physical world often takes time to catch up with our inner changes. But many people who have used this technique report experiencing surprising synchronicities and opportunities within days or weeks of completing the practice. The key is to approach this with an open mind and a willingness to suspend disbelief, at least for the duration of the exercise. Remember, you're not trying to force anything to happen. You're simply aligning your inner world with your desires and allowing the natural creative process to unfold. As we move into the specifics of the technique, keep in mind that this is more than just a mental exercise. It's a way of aligning yourself with the creative power of the universe. Goddard believed that this power, which he identified with God, is not separate from us, but is our very own wonderful human imagination. So as you prepare to learn this technique, know that you're not just playing mind games or trying to trick yourself. You're tapping into what Goddard believed to be the fundamental creative force of the universe. You're learning to use the same power that creates worlds to reshape your own life. Are you ready to discover how to use this power? Are you willing to dedicate just 3 days to potentially transform your life? If so, let's dive into Neville Goddard's powerful 3-day manifestation technique. Get ready to unlock the incredible potential of your imagination and start creating the life you've always dreamed of. Now that we understand the power of our imagination and why it matters, let's dive into the heart of Goddard's teachings, his 3-day technique. This method is simple yet powerful, and it's designed to create rapid change in your life. The idea is to fully immerse yourself in the feeling of your desire being fulfilled for just 3 days. It might sound short, but these 3 days can be transformative. Here's the basic idea. For 3 days, you're going to live as if your wish has already come true. You'll think, feel, and behave like you already have what you want. This isn't about pretending or lying to yourself. It's about creating such a vivid and real experience in your imagination that your subconscious mind begins to accept it as reality. Now you might be wondering, why 3 days? Goddard believed that 3 days was the perfect amount of time to impress a new idea on your subconscious mind. It's long enough to create a real impact, but short enough that anyone can commit to it. Think of it like a mental cleanse or a spiritual reboot. During these 3 days, you're going to focus all your mental and emotional energy on living in the end result of your desire. This means you'll need to be consistent and dedicated. It's not about just thinking about your desire now and then. It's about fully embodying the feeling of having what you want. This technique is powerful because it aligns all parts of your being, your thoughts, your feelings, and even your actions with your desire. When you do this, you create a kind of internal harmony that Goddard believed was irresistible to the universe. It's like tuning yourself to the frequency of what you want, making it almost inevitable that it will come to you. The first step in Goddard's 3-day technique is to choose what you want to manifest. This might sound simple, but it's actually a crucial part of the process. You need to pick something that you truly desire, something that excites you and fills you with positive emotion when you think about it. Now, when choosing your desire, it's important to be specific. Instead of saying, "I want more money," you might say, "I want to earn $5,000 per month from my own business." Instead of, "I want a better relationship," you might say, "I want to be in a loving, committed relationship with someone who shares my values and interests." Being specific helps in 2 ways. First, it makes it easier for you to imagine and feel the reality of your desire. Second, it gives your subconscious mind a clear target to work towards. Remember, your subconscious is like a faithful servant. It will work tirelessly to bring about whatever you impress upon it, but it needs clear instructions. At the same time, don't get too hung up on the details. The goal is to capture the essence of what you want, the core feeling or experience. For example, if you're manifesting a new job, focus on how it feels to do work you love, to be appreciated and well compensated, rather than on specific job titles or companies. It's also important to choose something that you believe is possible for you. This doesn't mean you can't dream big. You absolutely should. But if there's a part of you that thinks your desire is completely impossible, it might be harder to fully immerse yourself in the feeling of having it. Remember, the key is to choose something that excites you, something that you can really throw yourself into imagining and feeling for 3 full days. This should be something that, when you think about having it, fills you with joy, gratitude, and a sense of fulfillment. Take some time now to really think about what you want to manifest. Close your eyes and imagine different possibilities. Which one makes you feel the most excited and alive? Which one, when you imagine having it, fills you with the most positive emotion? That's the desire you should focus on for this technique. Once you've chosen your desire, write it down. Be as clear and specific as you can. Describe not just what you want, but how it will make you feel to have it. This written statement will be your touchstone for the next 3 days, reminding you of exactly what you're working to manifest. Now that you've chosen your desire, it's time for the fun part, bringing it to life in your imagination. This is where you get to be the director, actor, and audience of your own mental movie. Your goal is to create a scene in your mind that implies your desire has already been fulfilled. Goddard taught that the best way to do this is to create a short, simple scene that you can easily repeat. This scene should be something that would naturally happen if your desire had already come true. For example, if you're manifesting a new job, you might imagine shaking hands with your new boss and hearing them say, "Welcome to the team." If you're manifesting a romantic relationship, you might imagine cuddling on the couch with your partner, feeling completely loved and at peace. The key here is to make this imaginary scene as vivid and real as possible. Use all your senses. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel? If you're imagining a new home, feel the smooth countertop under your fingers, hear the sound of your footsteps on the hardwood floor, smell the fresh paint or the flowers in the garden. Don't worry if you're not naturally good at visualizing. Some people are more auditory or kinesthetic. The important thing is to make the experience as real as possible for you. If you're more auditory, Focus on the sounds and conversations in your scene. If you're more kinesthetic, focus on the physical sensations and emotions. Goddard recommended doing this imagination exercise right before you fall asleep at night and right after you wake up in the morning. These are times when your subconscious mind is most receptive. But during the 3 days of this technique, you should return to your imaginary scene as often as possible throughout the day. Each time you imagine your scene, try to make it more vivid and real. Add details. Really feel yourself there. The more real you can make it in your mind, the more powerful the effect will be on your subconscious. Remember, your subconscious doesn't distinguish between what's real and what's vividly imagined. When you create these vivid mental experiences, you're actually creating new neural pathways in your brain. You're literally rewiring yourself to align with your desire. This step is crucial because it's where you're impressing your desire on your subconscious mind. You're creating a new template for your reality. Your subconscious will then go to work to bring this new template into your physical experience. Don't be discouraged if your imaginary scene doesn't feel completely real at first. Like any skill, this gets easier with practice. The more you do it, the more vivid and real your imaginary experiences will become. Just keep at it, and you'll be amazed at how powerful your imagination can be. Now that you've created a vivid mental scene, it's time to focus on the most crucial part of Goddard's technique, feeling the emotions associated with your desire fulfilled. This step is what truly brings your imaginary scene to life and makes it real for your subconscious mind. Goddard taught that feeling is the secret to manifestation. It's not enough to just visualize or think about what you want. You need to feel it as if it's already yours. This means experiencing the joy, excitement, gratitude, and satisfaction that would naturally come with having your desire fulfilled. Let's say you're manifesting a successful business. Don't just imagine seeing yourself in a nice office or looking at impressive sales figures. Feel the sense of pride and accomplishment. Feel the confidence that comes with being a successful entrepreneur. Feel the gratitude for the financial security and the ability to make a difference in people's lives. The key here is to make these feelings as intense and real as possible. Don't just think about how you would feel. Really allow yourself to experience those emotions. Let them fill your entire body. If you're manifesting a loving relationship, feel the warmth and comfort of being loved. Feel the joy of sharing your life with someone special. Feel the peace and contentment of knowing you found your perfect partner. This step can be challenging at first, especially if your current reality is very different from what you're imagining. You might feel resistance or doubt creeping in. That's okay. Acknowledge those feelings, but then gently bring your focus back to the positive emotions of your desire fulfilled. Remember, you're not trying to force these feelings or fake them. You're allowing yourself to experience the natural emotions that would come with having what you want. The more you practice, the easier it will become to tap into these feelings at will. During your 3-day practice, try to maintain these positive feelings as much as possible throughout your day. Even when you're not actively imagining your scene, carry the emotion of your desire fulfilled with you. Let it color your interactions and experiences. This consistent emotional state sends a powerful message to your subconscious and to the universe about what you're aligning yourself with. The final step in Goddard's 3-day technique is to live from the end. This means that for these 3 days, you're going to live your life as if your desire has already come true. You're going to think, speak, and act like the person who already has what you want. This doesn't mean you need to make drastic changes to your external life or pretend to others. It's more about shifting your internal state. It's about adopting the mindset, attitudes, and energy of someone who already has what you desire. For example, if you're manifesting financial abundance, you might start feeling more generous. You might walk through a store with the feeling that you could buy anything you want, even if you don't actually make any purchases. If you're manifesting a loving relationship, you might start feeling more open and loving towards everyone in your life. The key here is consistency. For these 3 days, try to maintain this living from the end state as much as possible. When doubts or negative thoughts come up, and they likely will, gently redirect your focus back to your desired state of being. This step is powerful because it aligns your entire being, your thoughts, feelings, and actions with your desire. It creates a kind of internal coherence that Goddard believed was irresistible to the universe. Living from the end also helps to dissolve any subconscious resistance you might have to receiving your desire. By experiencing yourself as already having what you want, you're proving to yourself that it's possible for you. You're expanding your sense of what's achievable in your life. Remember, this isn't about pretending or lying to yourself. It's about shifting your perception and aligning yourself with a new reality. It's about becoming the person who naturally attracts and experiences what you desire. Now that we've covered the 4 steps of Goddard's technique, let's talk about how to put this into practice in your daily life. For the next 3 days, you're going to immerse yourself in this process as fully as possible. Start each morning by spending a few minutes in your imaginary scene. Feel it as real. Then carry that feeling with you as you go about your day. Whenever you have a spare moment, waiting in line, during your lunch break, before you fall asleep at night, return to your scene and those positive feelings. Throughout the day, catch yourself whenever you start to slip into old thought patterns or negative emotions. Gently redirect your focus back to your desired state of being. Remember, you're living from the end. How would you think, feel, and act if your desire was already fulfilled? It's important to approach this practice with a sense of enjoyment and excitement. This isn't a chore or a test, it's an opportunity to experience the life you want right here and now in your imagination. The more you can enjoy the process, the more powerful it will be. Don't worry if you're not perfect at maintaining this state for the full 3 days. It's natural for doubts and old habits to creep in. When that happens, just gently bring your focus back to your desired state. The key is consistency and persistence, not perfection. After the 3 days are over, release your desire to the universe. Trust that the seeds you've planted in your subconscious will grow and manifest in your physical reality. Continue to live your life with the quiet confidence of someone who knows their desire is on its way. Neville Goddard's 3-day technique is a powerful tool for transforming your life through the power of your imagination. By choosing a specific desire, vividly imagining it as real, feeling the associated emotions, and living from the end, you're aligning your entire being with what you want to manifest. Remember, this technique isn't about forcing change through sheer willpower. It's about aligning yourself with the natural creative power of the universe, which Goddard believed was our own wonderful human imagination. As you practice this technique, you may be surprised at how quickly things begin to shift in your life. You might notice new opportunities appearing seemingly out of nowhere. You might find yourself feeling more confident and positive, and over time, you may see your desire manifesting in ways you never expected. The beauty of this technique is that it's not just about getting what you want. It's about becoming the person who naturally experiences what you desire. It's about expanding your sense of what's possible in your life. So why not give it a try? Choose your desire, set aside 3 days, and fully immerse yourself in Goddard's technique. You have nothing to lose and potentially a whole new reality to gain. Remember, your imagination is more powerful than you know. Use it wisely and watch as your life transforms in amazing ways.